All right. Well, let's get this show on the road since I have an hour and a half tops. Uh, so last time you guys boarded your steamer to heading upriver on the Nile. Met a really interesting group of characters. You haven't interacted with the captain much, but he seems to be kind of the stalwart, older British, former military man type captain. You met you met a man named Arizona Joe who seemed to be right in line with Slim, and Slim's type of guy. Though as the night went on, you guys are a little concerned about him. Luca doesn't like him. Henry observed that some of his body language and mannerisms are a bit more Central European than they are Arizonan, or American in general. Uh, in fact, You guys played cards against him. You got Khan to gamble, which was epic, by the way. I just simply have to say. Um, and that whole interaction was wonderful, especially when Slim decided to cheat. Um, Pretty much got caught by Arizona Joe, but Arizona Joe didn't say anything about it. He just let it happen. So that was interesting. Who else did you meet? You know that there is someone upper crust British on board. Uh,
Lady Green, the bird lady.
Lady Green, the bird lady, and you know she has the VIP cabin up on the upper deck aft. And you also met more than once. You guys had quite a few interactions with Clara, the purser, um, an, um, a blonde American woman from Indiana, of all places,
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne, Indiana, and she showed a lot of interest in Slim, who got very nervous about that because, after all, he's spoken for by a Latina, and he's afraid of what that might mean should she find out. Um, and She warmed up to Henry a little bit there. So, yeah, I think really what we're on to is we're moving to the next morning, right?
Roger
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Before we jump in here, gentlemen, the whole Lady Green captain thing, there seems to have been a couple of interactions where he's come out of her cabin. So I don't know if there's something there, like some kind of plot device that we should engage with, but just a thought I had.
Well,
Or they're just boning, and that's it.
as the opportunity arises,
Yep.
I
All
meant to
right.
ask the purser. I meant to ask the purser if she went to Southside High School on Calhoun Street in Fort Wayne.
I don't know if she'd know the answer to that because the GM doesn't know the answer to that.
Maybe it's a trick question. Maybe Southside High School isn't really on Calhoun Street,
Sure.
but it is South Calhoun.
What's
All
very
my
funny about
cousins went
that
there.
is
My
there's a
cousins
South High
went
School
there.
in Calhoun here. Anyway,
All right.
All right. So,
Um, oh,
yeah.
I just wanted to say that um, Henry informs the guys that he's arranged to take a ship tour at 9 o'clock,
oh, that's right.
and he's hoping to see the engine room. But just letting you guys know that it's not necessarily that he's such a big fan of mechanical equipment, other than he was trying to find a way to get below deck. He just it's just in my nature. Speaking as Henry now, it's just in my nature to uh,
Get below deck.
case whatever place we're in, just because it's who I am. So it was a way to hopefully the tour, when we go down to see the engine room, I'll get a look at at below decks and make sure there's nothing we should know about. So out of game,
All right.
I'm just gonna say it's not like it's not like I'm metagaming. I'm trying not to metagame and say, hey, we're obviously on this boat and this isn't a montage, so obviously there's something here. I'm trying not to do that. I'm just saying Henry in his character doesn't trust anything or anybody anytime.
Let's see.
If he doesn't know him and he hasn't, so it's just he's just checking the place out.
Oh, I come on. All I did was turn a 3-minute hand wave into a multi-hour sub adventure. What could go wrong?
It's been fun so far. I hope it continues that way.
Oh, it will.
Of course,
All
we
right.
know Henry's view of fun.
That didn't sound as devious as I wanted it to, but
Yeah.
all right. So moving on to the next morning.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right. So next morning, uh, I'm gonna move some tokens. Whoever's going on this tour, go ahead and move your token to the observation deck. Obviously, we know Henry is going.
All right. In terms of
Trying.
Singh and Palecki, are you guys wanting to do the tour or?
We can, sure, why not?
Okay. Well, I didn't
Unless
know
there's something else you want to do.
who wanted to do whatever.
Ugh.
Seems like
Just narratively, somebody could go with Baker, while Slim has brunch with Arizona Joe.
Can Slim be left alone with Arizona Joe? That's
Well, the ship's full of people, right?
Yeah. If not, I will go on the tour because Slim did make a comment to Purser about going on the tour.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna try something. Jim, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, I got you.
You got me now. Okay.
Anyone else have Jim?
I
I
hear
have
Jim.
Jim.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're good. All right.
Okay.
What does
I-
Walter want to do?
Yeah.
Is Walter going to this shindig?
I was asking when something wrong with my mic. Do I need to roll for anything for this? After getting rid of the what do I have? Stress or?
Oh no, you're
I'm
straight.
completely healed now.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good to go. Oh,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do have to do one thing though. Hold on a second. I gotta pull up the rule in the book. I ran the whole last session without even a rule book open because I didn't need it. We kind of know what we're doing. But you did have an injury that is healed. We have to see if there is going to be a scar.
Oh, excellent.
So give me 1 second. I gotta pull up my player's guide.
Second star.
Yeah, yay!
Dun, dun, dun.
Where's the player's guide? There it is. I mean, I could go actually physically get the player's guide, or I can just track it down on my USB. Let's see here. Now,
If there's anything cool here for me? You
you
have to be mental though, right?
you have the option of just choosing to take the scar, um, uh, which the scar can be invoked at certain times to gain a fortune point. That's kind of what happened with, because you already have a scar. You've got a mental scar, which is like leading to your obsession with the King in Yellow, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So that's kind of what happened on the one you missed, where Slim had you remote view. But if you want to make a roll for it, it's just a and either you or Khan can make the roll because Khan healed you. So it's just a reason plus medicine with a difficulty of 1.
Okay. And that's to see
So-
if you have it or not.
That's to see if you end up with a scar. Yeah.
And if I choose to take one, I get to pick what it is instead of rolling for it.
Yeah, we can
How it
we can talk about that. Yeah, absolutely.
So I
It's
mean, I'm just wondering what the consequences of rolling to see if I have one versus just taking
well, if you or whoever rolls for you, if you get one success, you just end up without a scar. But I would probably, if you just choose to take the scar, or if you roll and fail, I'd probably let you kind of look over and pick something. The general list of scars, but you can create your own, are on pages 40 and 41 of the player's guide.
You know, I'm looking at these. Believes they are someone else. This is great. When overtaken by this compulsion, the character's under the illusion that they are a completely different person, perhaps a major historical figure or a well-known personality.
Oh boy.
There's a whole bunch of cool ones in here. Not cool, but fun for the game.
Yeah. Bad for the character, fun for the game. So up to you. What do you want to do?
Now, did we lose his audio again?
Jim?
Jim? Do I see?
guys there.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, there you are.
Hi, and why does it keep dropping? It's very odd. Nothing's changed in my setup. But I know how to fix it quickly now. So yeah, I'm gonna roll for it since you're gonna let me pick if I do fail the roll. But I already have the one scar, so I don't know if I want to just take one, just to take one. But these do look fun.
All right. So
Well,
yeah, roll reason plus medicine, 2 dice, difficulty 1.
Hmm. We still got you, Jim?
no, I've been talking. You hear me now?
Now I
I
hear
hear
you.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it drops out after like 30 seconds. I have to toggle the others can hear or see you. But anyway, so first, first aid won't apply here.
No, no, it would be psychiatry. Oh well, you're gonna get a scar.
Oh no.
So I'll let you. I'll let you just look down that list on page 40 and 41 of the player's guide and see if there's something you like.
Something like.
But yeah, back to the original question. Besides Henry, who all's going on this tour?
I don't mind going on the tour. I cannot move my token though.
Oh, all right. Well, I got you.
Cool.
Let me check into that and see if there's a reason you can't.
So what's Walter doing?
Well, that was technically yesterday, so it's a question of what Walter's up to.
I'm trying to. Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did say what I was doing with my mic again. So a blind guy going for a tour of the ship, probably not a. So he will go up top and be on the promenade with Nico, just enjoying the river air. Sunshine on his face.
All right. So he'll be up
Kind of will hang out with Walter then.
there. All right. Kyle, see if you can move your token now.
Nope.
Weird. All right. I don't know what's going on with that. I deleted you. It says you have control of it. I deleted it and then added it back, and it still is not doing anything. So I don't know
No
what's
big
up with
deal.
that. Some bullshittery with Roll20, I'm sure. It's just annoying. Okay. So as you guys make your way up to the observation deck, there's there's a breakfast being served. The captain is there. The At his table is Lady Green as well, who you saw when you guys first boarded the ship. Clara is there. She's making the rounds, talking to people. And as you guys arrive, she kind of stands back and announces that the tour of the ship will begin in 15 minutes. Uh, Arizona Joe is actually there, and as he sees Slim and Walter walk in, he kind of or walk over on the observation deck. He stands up and says, "Well, hey there, Slim. Good to see you. You
Morning, Joe.
you going on this here tour of the engine room and the rest of the ship?"
Oh, absolutely.
"Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be real interesting. I always like to
Uh,
know about mechanical things."
my friend here is partial to boats, and I figured this is my opportunity to, you know, see one since I'm never getting my ass on one again. Hey,
Um,
listen, Joe.
sure.
About last night, I was just having some fun between friends. I hope you understand.
He corner of his mouth lifts up just a little bit. It's all fine, Slim. It's no problem at all. He goes,
Oh, I
don't worry, I'll
appreciate
get
that.
my money back from you.
And then he looks at Baker and he says, "See, Baker, this is that Southern hospitality I've been talking about. Let bygones be bygones."
Um,
I just think it's interesting that I just think it's interesting that what a coincidence that it turned out to be Jack's.
Yeah.
Just interesting to me that it just happened that your conceit was exposed for all by matching Jack's. Pretty slim odds, don't you think, Slim? Oh
And
well.
are you saying that you
Oh,
saying all this out loud?
yeah, to you.
Oh, okay, to me. And he
I
says,
thought it was. I thought it was quite an amusing turn of events.
"It was our slim odds."
um, make a let's see, where is there he is. Sorry, I had to find a character sheet.
But it did shorten the night somewhat, don't you think?
Is this to Arizona Joe as well, or
No,
just
I'm
me?
saying it to you. I'm just looking at you, saying it to you. We're
Well, I didn't mean to shorten the night. I'd planned on being there a while, but I got caught. Someone told me never to play cards unless I know the outcome.
I s Yeah, it does seem to be an echo in here.
I wish you'd
Well,
stop giving me grief about this.
I just hope you amused yourself.
Well, that I always do.
But it turned out the entire interaction turned out to be fruitful.
Well, thankful for that anyway. Hey, what exactly are we looking for here on this, you know?
Just anything out of the ordinary. I think we'll know it when we see it.
Well, that makes one of us. I ain't never been below decks before. And
Oh,
and, and then he looks over Baker's shoulder and is like, "Oh, Baker, mimosas." He grabs one off a tray.
so things kind of finish up, and there's still obviously there's about 80 passengers on board, including you guys. Not everybody's going on this tour. It's probably only about a dozen people at most that are going on this tour. Everybody else just kind of starts to either they're continuing to eat breakfast or they're going and enjoying the promenade or whatever it is they're doing. Um, uh, Sorry, just had a text, just had to check. Um, the captain is actually leading the tour. Um,
So
Clara, go ahead.
out of character for a second. I know you kludged together as best you could this map of the ship. Um, but this was a sailing vessel, right? That you kludged.
You're right.
All right, you're gonna have to shoehorn in the bridge because the captain would show the bridge,
Sure.
and on a paddle steamer or whatever this is, there would be a bridge.
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely. But, um,
right.
so, as he starts the tour, Clara, she starts to move on, probably as other duties. Uh, she stops by Baker and Slim for just a moment, and says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Are you here for the tour?"
Good morning, Mrs. Whitmore. And he says, yeah, we're, yeah, I want to see this boat. Baker assures me it'll be quite riveting. No pun intended.
Oh, that was awful. She says, "Well, you gentlemen," she kind of flashes you a smile, and she says, "You gentlemen enjoy yourselves. I surely hope to see you later."
And he tips his hat. And, likewise, Miss Whitmore. And as she walks away, he turns to Baker and he says, I think she likes you.
Well, that's understood.
You two make an insight observation roll. Make them independently.
I love that your characters have turned into two guys at a strip club for the first time. I think she likes you. She's staring right at you. She said I was cute.
Well, since Baker's like hyper suspicious, I like playing the Slim, the counterpart, is somewhat oblivious. All right.
Does a focus apply?
If you have sight.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Baker. You both notice that Arizona Joe's eyes kind of linger on her as she walks away from the observation deck and turns the corner towards those steps going down.
All right. So
Oh boy.
Slim shares a glance with Baker, and then he says, I think our buddy here, Joe, fancies himself Miss Whitmore as well.
He kind of turns back towards the captain, who's briefly he's talking about what you guys are going to see on board the ship, and he notices that the two of you noticed him, and he just gets a big smile and winks at you.
Slim shrugs.
Slim, I think there's more to it than just libido.
What's that? and then he says he like turns away from the group, right? And he's talking to Baker, and he's like, "You really think this man? There's something fishy about him?"
Well, I'm convinced that nothing about this Arizona Joe is as he would have us believe.
Well, it would be downright dastardly to impersonate an American. That is something I do not take kindly to.
That's
We'll keep an eye on it.
Arizona Joe's crossed the line.
All right. So montaging a little bit, the captain leads the way, and he doesn't spend a lot of time on the upper deck. He talks briefly about how the Hathor's Dream is the latest in steamer luxury, with three decks and the covered promenade and observation deck and everything else. The ship is only 3 years old, et cetera, et cetera. So he's just kind of going on and on as he starts his tour of the vessel.
Well,
Um,
Captain, how many crew does it take to operate a ship this size?
23.
With all three.
He goes, now that includes everybody. That includes the wonderful cooks and servants down in the galley, and the crew quarters accommodates everybody. It takes quite a number of people, including myself and the first mate, to keep this ship running and clean and proper, as a good British vessel should be.
Well, I was just imagining that the maintenance and engineering crew would be an engine room would be a little larger for a ship this size. You must have your machinery must be very modern indeed.
He's, like I said, the ship is only 3 years old, but please, we will reach the engine room towards the end of our tour.
Awesome.
All right, so you guys are doing your thing. Um, Khan, what? How is Khan dressed? Is he in his Inspector General uniform since you guys are in Egypt, which is part of the British sphere of influence, or is he dressed more?
Well, I don't know. Um, I don't think we've talked about this as a group. What our strategy is for our disguises and shit.
We did talk about it when you were off taking a piss or something. We
Perfect
we had
timing.
decided, we had
Well, then I
decided
get
you
what
were
I
in
get.
uniform previously, but I don't know where you stand
Okay.
on that. We want
So
to
be
write
it.
that.
Not really. It's fine. I mean, he usually wouldn't, but it is a British part of the Commonwealth or whatever. So
I think it was dinner when
Colony
we were
or-
talking about this.
I don't know. If what are you guys wearing? That'll make a difference.
Um, well, I guess Slim is always in like, you know, I guess like a suit, but probably
Well, what's
with
their
his
cover
buttons
story?
undone and like.
What's their
Oh
cover?
well, he's already told Arizona Joe that he's a hired hand on an archaeological dig, which because Walter's cover story was that he's doing, like a survey of regional, like artifacts or whatever. So Slim just kind of went with that. But he's also using his real name, so
So I'm thinking this is like a social event, right? So he would not be wearing his military uniform probably because it's not a military type social event. So he's probably got his like a Nehru jacket
one
on,
was.
you know,
Yeah.
dressed nice. Got a silk vest. Looks very posh India.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Henry's just looking casual travel. Tweed jacket, leather patches on the elbows, khaki pants.
All right.
okay.
It is hot after all.
This thing's got to be a little exotic, so we'll give him a red. His Nehru jacket is red, and he's got a black turban on.
All right.
Con the fashion plate.
Do I look inconspicuous?
You guys got me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
You can hear.
Yeah, man, I got to figure this out. I don't know what's going on. It cuts out after about 30 seconds.
Do you still hear us when it goes out? You just
Yeah,
can't talk?
I do. I just
Okay.
start talking. And Pilecki's going to be in his, usual three-piece kind of looking suit and doing the vision impaired thing, at least on the promenade. Well, on the boat, period. So, but yeah, just hanging out. He is processing his new issues. I'm not going to reveal it to the rest of the guys, but Marty, if you want to see what it is, I think it fits the.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think it fits the narrative from what happened.
I'm so in.
Well, and you can take control of that, which is fun.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
there we have it.
I'm excited. Um, so as as the rest of the guys are on their tour, um, you guys were chilling on the promenade, just enjoying the weather and the view and that type of thing, correct?
Yeah, I'm just being very pensive and a little quieter than even normal, and I think trying to let Khan know that there's something wrong.
Do you have Luca with you?
Huh?
Do you have Luca with you?
Yeah, Luca's sitting next to me. Yeah, Slane's snoring.
All
And,
right.
so yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just
Um.
hanging out and contemplating life as it goes by.
All right. If you two could make an insight observation with a sight focus, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, wait for my skill set.
All right. Singh has a success, as so does Pilecki. Um, so, as you guys are just hanging out doing your thing, and the morning turns into the late morning, um, you note that Lady Green has stayed on the observation deck. She did not go with the tour, but you've caught more than one kind of furtive glance your way as the two of you are doing what you're doing up on the promenade, just enjoying yourselves or enjoying the weather, as, like you said, as Walter processes his new issues. Um,
Khan smiles to Walter. It's the red silk. Works every time.
finally, finally she gets up and actually just strolls over, um, and she she glances at Luca and Walter, uh, and then she kind of comes to stand next to Khan on the near the railing, and she says, "Good morning. Egypt is a land of mystery, but I think you are mysterious compared to Egypt."
Oh man,
She says,
is that so?
looking at your bearing, I get the impression that you're not from Egypt. I think you're probably from another part of the empire.
Indeed, madam. What gave me away? Was it the handlebar mustache?
She laughs, and she's middle aged. She's probably in her mid to late 40s. Um, and she says, it's everything about you, distinguished sir.
You're
What brings
much
you
too
to
kind.
Egypt?
My name is Khan Amir Singh. He'll present his hand.
She says, I am Lady Sonia Green.
Quite a pleasure. This is my associate. Walter, are you using an alias, or if you're talking, I can't hear you, bro. It's doing the thing.
All right.
There he is.
Okay. I think.
And there he goes.
Dropped out again. He's also mute.
Halfway through his sentence, that sucks.
How's that?
Okay, there you go.
Okay, I think it's a roll 20 thing with the. I have to toggle the voice to none and back to it, so it's inside the web app. That's
Yeesh.
okay. Oh, let me switch to. I'm sorry for making this longer. I'm going to switch to internal microphone muting.
Okay.
All right, you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Roger that.
Does it sound different?
Yes, it does to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
slightly.
All right, so it's probably, I'm going to push my mute button on my microphone, and if I can still hear, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, so externals, we'll see if this helps. Okay, so what was the question? She looks over at me and,
Oh, Khan asked if you were going by your. He was about to introduce you, but he asked if you were going by your normal name or if you were going by an alias.
I don't think any of us are really using aliases right now, are we?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, so just, yeah, because I've been using my normal name when we went to the museum and all
Okay.
that stuff. So we'll leave, yeah, I don't think we're well known. So.
This is my associate, Walter Pilecki, Esquire.
She says
Good.
it's a pleasure to meet you. Pilecki, that's Polish, isn't it?
Yes, it is, madam. It's a pleasure to meet you too. As I stare straight forward.
I am sorry about what has occurred in your country here lately.
As I am. As I am. I have lots of worries for my family, friends, and comrades at home.
Fear not, Mr. Pilecki. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before the Empire steps in.
I hope so. Science, logic, and kindness will be crushed under this regime.
She she nods and then realizes that you probably don't see that, and she says, "Yes, I agree."
Yeah.
Um,
Can I make a? No, I think I have a skill. I think I have a skill. Where is that in Conan? I'm getting my skills or talents mixed up. Thought I had something with interest that could be pursuing two momentum to ask three questions. Yeah, no, that's not it. Can I make a general observation site roll just to see if I don't know that can I I'm asking if I can roll for truthfulness or
yeah, that would be insight observation. You could use you could use really. I'd make the argument based on um, my background. Insight observation, and you could use pretty much any observation focus except smell and taste
okay.
if you have
You,
any of those.
well, considering I'm not supposed to be staring at her, I probably wouldn't be using my only focus, which is sight.
Okay,
So it'd probably
that
be a straight roll.
that makes sense.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I'm sensing anything awkward or any kind of tell.
Sure. Okay. One success overall. She seems genuine, but you do have a sense that this is not a random conversation.
Okay.
Mainly because the GM hand waves and montages random conversations. Uh, um, she says, "So, Mr. Pilecki, how long have you pretended to be blind?"
Oh shit.
Excuse me, madam.
She says, "Please." She kind of looks around. She says, "There's nobody here. You can speak freely. Nobody nearby, at least."
I'm sorry, madam. I take offense to this. While my blindness is not complete, I am significantly lacking sight, so that I cannot make out normal characteristics. If you would like to talk about my childhood trauma, we can set another appointment.
she
Wow.
she laughs and says, "Very well. Keep your secrets." Uh,
Aleki becomes very quiet, continuing to stare, and lays a hand on Luca.
um, she says, so what brings blind uh, a blind I'm trying gosh what's the why am I not I cannot come up with the word for someone who's Polish.
Polak?
Well, I don't think that's generally considered
No, that's
Pole, right?
Pole. Thank you. It's just
Pole,
pole.
yes, pole.
So what brings a blind Pole and a loyal Sikh of the Empire to a steamboat in Egypt on the brink of the largest war the world has ever seen?
I'm afraid that my injuries led me to severe migraine headaches, which I have felt coming on this morning. If you would excuse me, I'm going to retire to my cabin.
She
Wow.
says, well, it was a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Pilecki. I apologize. I meant no offense to
As it is, and walk away.
you. Oh, Con, you probably,
I missed most of that.
yeah, you missed the question. So, she asked Walter point blank how long he's pretended to be blind, um, um,
Oh my!
Oh,
and
you didn't hear that all that exchange?
I just sat back down for my phone call. No, I didn't hear.
Oh, okay, yeah. Go
yeah.
ahead, Cody.
So Walter held on to the ruse, and she laughed and said, "Very well, keep your secrets." And then she asked what brought a blind Pole and a loyal Sikh of the Empire to a steamboat in Egypt on the brink of the or on the eve of the largest war the world had ever seen. And at that point, Walter he excused himself.
Not very politely.
No, not very politely.
And Khan will say, "Oh, we simply thought we'd get a little sun."
Yeah, so, Sharif, she was, when you were on the phone, she was like kind of being a dick and calling me out like I'm not blind and, insisting on it. And
But were you doing that thing where you pretend to be blind and stare at the girl's boobs?
they have sunglasses on,
'Cause
so they
she probably sees that a lot.
yeah, probably. So I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine because I was pretty forceful and she didn't really back down and just pretty much called me a liar. Uh, so I didn't want to stay in that situation. Plus, with his recent mental injury, he's not fit to really go through a stressful interrogation by some who knows what she is. So I don't know. You've got like persuasion and stuff, don't you? Not to know.
I do. I have deception, actually. I have persuasion with a deceive focus.
Okay, so I could do with what you will, that knowledge. But when I was leaving, she said, "Pleasure to meet you." I forgot what I said. Something not mindful as it is as well. So that's where we're at with Pilecki and what's her name, Miss Green,
Yeah, Lady Sonia Green.
lady. Soon. Should have asked her if that's a bestowed title or just something she calls herself.
Damn.
I'll always save it for last time.
That would be extremely insulting to someone who's British in this time period.
Well, only if they're actually a lady.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Just like it's insulting to call it a blind man. Anyway, I got my
It,
friend.
I'm very insulted that I'm pretending to be blind and she told me I'm not blind. All right, so
Correct.
back to the question, Con. She turns back. She says, "So you two, in fact, all four of you make an interesting group of people."
Egypt is very ancient, madam. I'm sure it has its share of interesting people about.
She says, "No doubt, but very rarely do we see two Americans, a blind Polish man and a Sikh. Let me ask you, uh, Mr. Singh, are you truly loyal to the Empire?
I am. I must admit, I was not expecting to have a political conversation on the while a social function is going on. Some would say it's a violation of good etiquette, man.
She said, I agree. Would you prefer to have this conversation in private?
Khan will appraise her with a steely glance. What is she suggesting here? This is a. He'll just say. I'll just say. This is a tempting offer, but I'm afraid I am not. I am not. What would you say? I'm simply not available for such a thing.
She says, I'm not sure what you thought I was implying you were available for, except perhaps just to have a conversation, but very well. I apologize for giving offense to you and your friend.
None taken. None taken. There are fewer pleasures more genial than spending the night on board a ship, looking at the stars, and speaking with a beautiful woman. Come, let's walk the promenade, shall we?
All right. So as you guys are doing that, the tour is just to touch Slim and Henry briefly here. The tour is, you're going through the whole ship. The bridge, which was relatively small, all things considered, was not a I don't know what you guys had in mind in terms of what the bridge would be, but it was not a big room. The first mate was there. You guys saw him when you first boarded the ship. He was an Egyptian man. He was actually there at the wheel, and there were a couple other people on the bridge as well. But he briefly reviewed the bridge with you. Did talk about how state of the art again his ship is, because it is one of the few Nile steamers that has one of the new wireless radios. Um, and
Okay, Captain, what is the normal cruising speed of this steamer?
upriver about 8 knots.
Oh, not a bad, not a bad. I assume that's not. I assume that's not at all ahead full. Just a cruising speed. How many knots do you think this ship could make if you open the engines wide open?
Upriver I can make it around 11, but we generally avoid moving that fast up the Nile. The Nile is not always easiest to navigate, which is why I have. Oh shoot! What is his name? What is his name? I'm sorry. Which is why I have. Which is why I have Mr. Sala. Well, that was rather generic. Darn it! I should have written something better. But that's why I have Mr. Sala as my first mate. He has sailed the Nile his entire life. He is very aware of the shifting silt patterns in the river.
Well, and of course, running at full speed is a terrible waste of fuel.
It is true. There's not much need for it, especially going upriver. Now downriver, we have run at flank speed downriver and achieved an astonishing 17 knots. We could fight a frigate.
That I would like to see. It would
Not
be
while
short.
we're on board, please.
Right.
Ignoring that a frigate could have anywhere from 32 to 40 guns, and an old school wooden sailing frigate. And so far, you've
Marines.
not seen a single gun on this steamer,
Um,
outside of the ones you guys are carrying, but not the kind of guns we meant. Um,
okay.
so the tour continues. Obviously, the second level, the main deck, there's not much to talk about there because it's just the purser's office, passenger cabins, and dining room, which everyone's of course seen. The and the lower deck, uh, he briefly reviews the storage area where everything that people check in, not in their cabins, is kept. And it's mostly empty. There's not a whole lot here. Um, the crew quarters area, the galley, the engine room, and he introduces the chief engineer, who I apparently did not name. Give me 1 second. We can fix that really quickly.
Is this an AI generated name?
Yes, it is. Oh, that's perfect. Hamish McLaren.
Mr. Scott?
That's so good.
I love it.
That's so good.
Mr. McLaren is extremely proud of his engine room and how clean it is, how there are no tools left out unattended. There's nothing. Everything is in perfect order. You could certainly cook your food on his engines if you wanted to, and eat it. That's how clean he keeps things. The captain sticks back as Mr. McLaren explains all the inner workings of his engines, which, by the way, I'm going to freely admit and tell you guys I did not take the time to brush up on my 1930s steamer mechanics for this.
This is the part where we admit that that's okay.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, there's one man in the room that could argue that statement, but that's okay.
He's disappointed.
Arizona Joe is Arizona Joe just, and like I said, you guys started this tour with about 12 people, and as you continued to move on, a few people just kind of drifted off and did something else, obviously not finding it terribly interesting. Arizona Joe and a few other passengers have stuck with you the whole time. He seems very interested. He's peppering the chief engineer with questions about the workings. Clearly, he's somewhat knowledgeable about engines. So, and the Scotsman is enjoying this banter back and forth as they talk about it. So, why? Of course, it's not a K-21. This is the new BL-24. Yeah, whatever. I mean, if you want to talk about Honda engines, I got you. I don't know much about 1930 steamers. I'm sorry. So,
There were a handful of companies that make big diesel engines back then.
yeah, yeah.
Turns out they also made them for warships around the world.
Oh, I'm sure. Being built in 1936, I'm wondering if this would actually be a diesel or not.
Yep,
Okay.
most likely would be.
Yeah.
Could have been. Well, it could have been steam. Steam would be cheaper, so it would have a boiler. Yeah, steam would be cheaper. Diesel, you're right. Diesel mostly was for government-funded navies.
On the other hand, as proud as our captain is of his vessel and how state of the art he continues to talk about how it is, we're just going to make the decision that this vessel is diesel. So, though engines, I'm sure, much smaller than what you'd find in something as huge as a destroyer comparatively. So, all right, moving on.
Right, let's get into it.
What's that?
Well, Henry's looking around with the chief engineer. How many guys does it look like are working this engine room?
There are a total of 4, including the engineer.
Okay. Okie doke. So, watching and listening to Arizona Joe, do I get the impression that that this is feigned interest or real interest?
Inside observation with instincts as a focus, if you have it.
Um, and we've got a little momentum. How many momentum do I need to get another die?
You guys have two momentum. It's one momentum to buy a third die.
All right, I'll use one momentum for that.
Okay.
Ah, crap.
Oh no.
Ooh. Dice were not kind on that one.
No.
Um, as far as you can tell, it certainly seems to be.
Okay.
And let's see. Well, Slim, you're a tanker, aren't you?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you obviously know a bit about mechanics, and while a ship is different from a tank, let's be blunt, an engine's an engine, right? Whether it's a gas tank or a diesel ship engine.
Sure.
So I think just right off the cuff, um, whether or not Arizona Joe's truly interested, you don't know. But what you do know is, based on the verbiage and the way he's engaging the conversation, he definitely knows something about mechanics, about engines.
Okay. That makes sense. Slim does have mechanical engineering.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be something that I would say Slim just knows and wouldn't have to roll for. Now, like I said, whether or not Arizona Joe's actually interested or whether he's making conversation or whatever, you don't know. But
So he's actually talking about engines, or
yeah, he's talking with the engineer back and forth.
all right.
Probably
Probably.
curious why the engineer went with why this vessel's been equipped with diesel as opposed to steam. So
Okay. And does the tour end at the engine room, or does it
I
continue?
think the tour ends at the engine room. Yeah.
Okay. So as
Oh,
you know,
and I'm assuming that as we made our way to the engine room, we saw the crew quarters were. Did we see? Did we notice anything other than just doors in a hallway?
Not really. Yeah.
Okay. Passageway is the right word.
Yeah. No, it's fine. What were you
Okay.
saying, Slim?
okay. So um, as the tour is coming to a close or whatever, and people are starting to head back up, Slim casually approaches Arizona Joe, and he says, "I didn't take you for a grease monkey. You know your way around these things."
He he says, yeah, I've spent some time around. My daddy back home was one of the first automobile mechanics in Tombstone, Arizona.
No shit. I wasn't where they had automobiles in Tombstone, Arizona. And he smiles.
He says, well, yeah, we're probably had them a little before you did in West Texas. We're a bit more civilized.
And he chuckles, and he says, "What you got going on later today, sir?"
Says, I don't rightly know. He goes, probably gonna sit down and read a book for a little while and maybe maybe just cruise around, talk to some of the other passengers. Yeah, I don't have much really planned.
Okay, all right. Well, I doubt I could twist your arm into a game of cards again, but maybe we'll grab a drink later today.
He says we can probably make that work, Slim.
And he tips his hat and he heads back towards Baker. And when Joe's out of earshot, he says, that man, he knew what he was doing around these engines, or at least he knew what he was looking at.
Okay, another piece of the puzzle.
All right. So, um, Palicki, what are you up to?
Oh, I'm back at the room.
Yeah.
Just trying to hide out and not, attract her attention again.
Hmm.
But I am struggling with, everything that happened the last few days anyway. So, I have a whole lot I'm wanting to do. Um, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, yeah. I just I'm very suspicious of that woman, and I don't want to give her any information at all.
All right. Um, there's a soft knock at your cabin door.
For fuck's sake.
I'm not letting you off that easy.
I wait until there's another knock.
All right. Yeah, there's a second set of knocks. Uh, Probably like instead of one or two, it's probably like three knocks and a little, just a little bit faster, and you hear a woman's voice. Mr. Pilecki, are you there?
All right, so I'm gonna very quickly strip into my skivvies, and I am going to let's see. Is there any
Let it hang, bro.
yeah, right. Is there any oh my god, I'm thinking any of Slim's whiskey or anything around?
Well, you're bunked in with Khan, I
Oh,
believe. So
Right.
I think you guys are running a
No.
dry room.
yeah.
Probably a 2% milk somewhere in there.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
3% is an extravagance.
Okay, so I shuffle, I stripped out of my skivvies, I shuffle to the door. Is there a peephole or no?
We're gonna say no.
And I just say in a low, groggy voice, yes, who is it?
She says, "I'm so sorry to bother you. This is Clara Whitmore. I I had heard from one of the other crew members that you didn't seem well today, and I was just checking on you."
So that's not Lady Green.
No, that's the purser.
Oh, the purser.
Yellow dressed lady from last night.
Um, yes, ma'am. I am suffering a bit. I have a very, very bad headache and was trying to lay down for a nap. I would appreciate being able to return to that, but I appreciate also your consideration.
I am so sorry to disturb you. Is there anything I can get for you to make
There
your...
actually is. My seeing eye dog really enjoys 3% milk. Could you provide that for us?
There's a pause, and she says,
What's that?
"Yeah, exactly."
1939.
Yeah. Says that's...
Would you be able to provide a saucer of milk for my companion?
She says, I'm sure there's something available. I will see what I can do for you."
Yes, please. And if you could just place it outside the door, I will get it when I rise. Um, but could you also one other thing? Something that seems to soothe my aching head more than anything else is a hearty tuna sandwich on rye. Could you possibly provide one of those as well?
You just get the hot chick to make you a sandwich.
Trying to be such a pain in the ass when the hot chick doesn't want to come back.
I will I will send a note down to the galley and see what we can do. I'll have them both or as close approximations as we can manage delivered to your room here shortly.
Well, thank you so much, madam. Your service is exceptional. I'll make note of it and make sure to pass on to anyone I meet.
I hope you feel better, Mr. Pilecki.
Thank you.
Um,
Can't get me that easy.
all right, so Con, what are you and Lady Green doing besides strolling the promenade? Are you guys just making small talk?
Well, I'm just humoring her. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know what she wants.
yeah, I got you.
I'm just trying to avoid, uh, compromising our mission,
Mm,
making like stupid small talk.
okay. Um, she after about uh after about an hour or so, she seems to grow uninterested, and she finally kind of looks to you and says, "Mr. Singh, this was a very pleasant time. Uh, Thank you for being a distraction." Says, "But
Well,
go ahead."
no, I was just gonna say she's well.
She says, "I think I'm going to go rest for a while before dinner. Uh, so enjoy the rest of your time, and perhaps we will see each other later."
Perhaps. And Khan will not say what he's thinking. There's probably plenty of other people for her to pry into.
You know what? I just occurred to me. I just recently started watching What We Do in the Shadows for the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watch that or not, but it'd be really awesome if one of us could just turn into a psychic vampire for these kind of situations.
um, she so she heads away and heads towards her cabin. Um, you're and it, she and again, yeah, she heads away at that point. Um, so moving into the afternoon, um, or I guess here's the question: as the day goes on, who has what they might want to continue to do?
Well, we're on a ship moving upstream at 8 knots. Um, we've exhausted everything there is to do here except drink. Um, we've engaged the main character several times. So anyway, Henry just wants to get together with Slim and Khan and just compare notes on Arizona Joe. Uh, it's it's my belief that given that he's not, we already know he's not what he seems. That he seems to be Central European rather than American.
This is taking place what in the cabin?
Anywhere we want, we could do it on deck someplace where no one's around us.
Yeah, or
We're
you,
not talking loudly.
you can,
Okay.
I mean, if you wanted to get everybody together, yeah, you guys just decide where you want to meet.
I got to believe in this environment that down below in the cabin is pretty hot.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
probably.
Yeah.
okay, I don't
So
want
it's easier.
to exclude
Go ahead.
Palacky if that's
Well,
Jim. What do you think?
he's
Honestly, I'm trying to lay low right now, unless
yeah.
Okay. All
you
right.
guys need
We're on
me.
deck.
I think I might be the. I don't know who this. Well, we shouldn't be talking about this. We're not together. Characters.
Right.
That's okay.
I just wanted to quickly compare notes and say we need to keep an eye on this Arizona Joe because it appears he's keeping an eye on us. Um, I I don't believe it's a coincidence that he's here and he's interested in us. He may his task may be to follow us and report our movements
What?
to his handlers.
What are you? And he like leans in. He's like, "Are you suggesting that Arizona Joe's a spy?"
Slim, always a little late to the party.
No, he's being facetious.
Is he? Is
At
he?
least, at least Henry's taking it that obviously he's some kind of spy, and that Slim is being facetious.
I
And,
don't, I don't like this. And he says, well, what are we gonna do about it?
well,
You want me to rope him up, beat him over the head? You can knife him a little bit and get some info.
there's an awful lot of people on board ship that would notice such a conspicuous person. And where would you do such a thing?
Well, I hadn't formulated a plan. I only have a concept of a plan at this moment.
Concept of a plan.
An idea of a possibility of a future action.
Of ideas.
He,
I think we just gauge how interested he is in us and try and figure out who he might be working for. But if it came to it, I've got a couple ideas on how we might dispose of him.
all right. Well,
It would be a shame if sometime in the middle of the night he fell overboard and drowned in the Nile. No one would really notice he was missing till the next morning. It would be a crying shame.
well, that is a right bit devious. I'll admit, I do not like the lack of gunpowder involved in this plan. However, you are making sense to me. What is it that you would like me to do to keep an eye on this so-called gentleman in the meantime?
I think you should continue to engage him, maybe over alcohol, and see if you make sure you don't slip and give him any information on what we're doing. See if you might be able to get some information from him.
Now, he looks at Singh and he says, "You see, it's tradecraft." And he all them drinks.
Anything with alcohol is
discussing
you're
this,
up for.
the three of us?
Yeah, there are three of us. So, Khan, you're in on this
Well-
if you have some
well,
suggestions.
I absolutely love the idea of taking this guy out. I'm saying this as like as a player, not a character, but as a player, I love the idea of like rubbing out Arizona Joe. But as a character, I would think it would probably behoove us to not do that for lots of reasons. I mean, we don't even know who he's working for exactly.
Right.
Like,
I'm
we
just
know
saying
he's
that
not from Arizona, but
I'm just saying if it becomes necessary.
okay, gotcha.
Right now, right now it would be a bad idea to just rub somebody out because we don't like the looks of him and that he's interested in us.
Well, and also because
And Khan wouldn't go for that either.
no, God would definitely not. I mean, if he was
Henry
like, if
doesn't
we
care
knew he
that
was a
much.
German agent trying to get us, that might be a different story. But like, we still don't know enough about him. You know, like,
Right.
who's he working for?
And
The
Henry
Turks, the
knows enough.
Italians, we don't know.
Con,
given Henry's background, Henry knows enough about him that
I'm going to ask you to make a roll, please.
oh,
Will,
Okie dokie.
will, resilience, fortitude, focus if you have it.
Well, this is
Okay,
interesting.
I do not.
Difficulties 2.
Get out of my mind.
All right.
Wow.
Difficulty was 2. You had 3 successes, so that gained a point of
Whoa.
momentum. Yeah, you've got the distinct sense that a presence just tried to enter your mind, but you fought it off.
What kind of presents?
You're not
I am,
sure.
after all, a wizard.
Um, you have 2 momentum if you want to spend it on gaining information.
All right, yeah. Khan will suddenly reel and grab Slim by the shoulder to steady himself. By Indra, someone has tried to enter my mind.
And Slim steadies him, and he's like, "Inspector, you all right? Starting to sound like Walter."
No, there's thaumaturgic villainy afoot.
Thumb, what?
We have a wizard amongst us, or a psychic. So what am I rolling?
Use the momentum.
Yeah, so
Use the momentum.
use the momentum
Yes,
for an information spend.
I
Um,
shall spend it all that I can.
uh, the whatever it was, or I should say whoever, it was most definitely mortal. It was most definitely a human.
And it
Um,
was close.
uh, well, it would have to be in order to attempt that. Otherwise, it would require a huge amount of power. So
What was
it's safe to
attempted? A
assume it's
spell
someone
or
on
a
board
psychic?
ship.
Was it a
Um,
spell or psychic contact?
I'll
Could you
give
tell
you
the
that
difference?
information. It was mystical in origin, so it was not psychic.
All right, so somebody cast a spell,
Yeah.
which will say, let's just make this up. That's why he was able to defend against it,
Yep.
because he recognized the magical boring taking place. Um, so it's close. Can I tell what kind of magic it was? Like you said, it was. What was the word you used?
I would say mystical, so it was definitely a
Mystical.
spell, but beyond that, no.
Okay. Beyond that, no. Is it something that would require privacy to do, or can this be done casually, like you're looking out to sea and you can do it on
You
your
know
side
what?
of the ship, or do you
Make a
need like
roll.
ritual?
Make a reason academia with occult focus.
I have
Difficulty one.
that. Okay.
All right. Oh, perfect with a bonus momentum. So, it was. I'm sure it would be called something different with your character's Indian flavor, um, where he's from, but it is what Western sorcerers or magicians call mind whispers. It's a spell that can be done with virtually no somatic or verbal, attempt whatsoever. But it's where someone tries to enter your mind to implant an idea.
I guess what I'm saying is, okay, so this is called mind magic. Somebody tried to implant an idea, but
Right.
is this can be? I don't know if I got the sense of, does this need like a ritual space, or can this just be done on the fly?
No, it could be done on the fly.
How far away do you have to be to pull this off? Like, do you have
Uh,
to be line of sight? Do you have to
no,
be?
it
I'm trying
depends
to
on
figure out where to
depends on the
search.
power of the sorcerer. So,
Could somebody have done this from the shore, or is it like for sure somebody on board?
someone from the shore, it's more than likely it's somebody on board, based on what you know about it.
Um,
Someone that kind of distance away. Don't get me wrong. If someone's powerful enough and they know who you are and where you are, they could do it. Anywhere. They
so
could
is this
do it.
Mrs. Green trying to get lucky, or what?
Hmm?
Is this Mrs. Green trying to get lucky? She invited me to her room. I said no. Is she trying to implant the idea? Like suddenly I had a tingle. Maybe I'm gonna go
Henry
go
Henry
back to
looks
Mrs. Green's room.
Henry looks at Khan and says, "What's happened?"
Real quick before I answer him, do I know what the suggestion was that she was trying to plant?
No.
Like, did I hear it in my mind?
No, you fought it off entirely.
I say she, but I don't know. It could have been a he. Yes, I will tell Henry what's going on.
Okay, so when you tell him,
Henry
Slim.
looks.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Henry quick looks around the deck to see if there's any other individuals on the deck
Um,
besides us.
Nobody really nearby.
Okay. Nobody I recognize. We don't see. Don't see. We don't see Arizona Joe. We don't see Clara. We don't see Lady Green.
No, couple of passengers,
Okay.
but no one within. If you keep your voice to a relatively low level, no one within earshot.
Okay.
So Slim looks at Baker and he says, he's like holding up this thing, and he says, I think the timeline on those alligators is moved up.
Khan will look at Slim and he'll say, "It could be anyone, Slim."
Come on now. This
But we need.
ne'er do well is impersonating Southern American. And, and he cheats at cards.
It just gets better and better.
Pot. Says the pot to the kettle.
It's tradecraft, Baker.
And he fought for the North.
Yeah, right.
Baker, Baker looks at two of them. And if this is the work of this Arizona Joe person, he may be more formidable than we think. So we must be cautious. We can't underestimate him.
Do not exclude the possibility that it's someone else.
I'm not. It could be someone else for sure. I'm just saying that if it is this Arizona Joe person, he's not just an ordinary spy. He might have other talents, but obviously it could be anybody.
None of us should be alone right now. Let's go get Walter, because if somebody can get us alone and implant an idea into our minds, we won't know it.
Yeah, you don't want Walter with that going on.
So make sure Walter is susceptible right now. So let's make sure that there's at least one friend with us at all times. And if we start acting strange, sound the
Now,
alarm.
wait a minute. I'm a free thinker. Nobody gets in my mind. You should walk. I can draw
It's a
this man
dark,
out.
cold place.
Yeah.
I've seen the way he's eyeing up that dish. I could take a crack at that and see if I could draw him out.
Interesting.
Are we talking about the purser again?
I believe that's who he's
Miss
talking
Whitmore.
about. Yeah.
And,
Sarah Whitmore, I think it would be a good idea, Slim, if you or I talk to Ms. Whitmore. Maybe as the purser, she would have information on the guests. Maybe she has some information on Arizona Joe. And it's possible, for all we know, they might be working together or not. But
Spies everywhere.
well,
I'm really trying
are.
to.
we're technically spies.
Yes. So if anybody's a pickpocket, I'm just saying you can. I don't know if anybody has that skill.
I'm looking at my sheet now. Let's see. Well, first of all, that would be an agility or coordination roll, right?
Yeah, I would probably tend towards agility.
All right. And then what would be the skill?
I think it would. My gut
Stealth,
reaction
maybe?
would be stealth. Yeah.
All right.
Because
well,
if you're trying to
I've
pick
got-
somebody's pocket, you don't want to be spotted doing it.
On the other hand, you need to know. Generally, when you pick someone's pocket, you have an idea what you're after.
True.
But all right, so we should check that. My agility is 10 and my stealth is 3, which gives me 13.
Remember, I just need an item to see where he's been in the recent future.
So we just need an item.
Something off his person so that it would allow me to rewind time and see where he came from and get us a clue. If it's a personal
Slim, you
item,
could.
if it's a personal
All right.
item, then he would have had it for longer. But his outfit or whatever, a pen he could have picked up yesterday. But right.
all right.
Yeah, so
wanna
we wouldn't
drink
want a
from him?
glass that he just drank a whiskey out of, because that would tell us nothing. because he
Correct.
just touched it.
Correct.
All right, so Slim, that might be a ploy that we use when the time is right. That you engage him in drinks so that you can attract his attention, and I could try and do that. I'm assuming I've got the best target number. Like I said, my agility's 10 and my stealth is 3. That's 13. Anybody got better?
Slim is not great at pickpocket
Okay.
type stuff.
And we'll use some momentum to improve our roll. All right. So Slim, the other thing is
He's only gonna be a 9 on that roll.
okay. Maybe also one of us should talk to Miss Whitmore and see if we can extract some information on Arizona Joe from her.
Well, if he's drinking with me, he's not going to be hanging around her.
Correct. But if you're the distraction, then it's going to take us both. I'm not saying we're doing it simultaneously. We could talk to her first. Well, we got to get back to Walter and make sure he's protected. But we could talk. It's only the afternoon. We could talk to her first, and then we could work our little escapade with Arizona Joe after dinner, maybe after dinner drinks.
Well, that's fair, but I don't rightly like him messing with things' mind. I'd like to teach him a lesson if that's the case. And sooner rather than later. You want me to go blow his door down?
Jesus.
All in due time.
All right, well, as long as I get some licks in.
All right. All right. So let's you guys have a concept of a plan there. So let's stop here.
Okay.
Because I got to leave here in a minute for my physical. So, um, as far as I know, we're all on for next week, 21st.
You got
Yes.
All right.
Sir,
Cool.
we are. I may have to duck out a little early because I got to take my father-in-law for a test, and that's at 1:30. So 12:30. I may have to duck out at 11:30 my time, which would be an hour from now.
12:30.
Yeah.
It should be a fairly long session.
No, that's good. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do. So, okay. All right. Cool. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
later.
All right, thank you, everybody.